Welcome to another Fast Tips video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I am your instructor, Richard Rost. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to add secondary email addresses to your Access database and search for them. Okay, so here's the problem, and this is a problem I personally have in my database, and I've also gotten this email from a bunch of people over the last couple of weeks. Now, as you can imagine, I've got a huge database that runs my business. And I started this business 20 years ago. It's hard to believe. It's been almost 20 years. In fact, 20 years this September, I registered my website. So I know a lot more now today about Access than I did 20 years ago. And even back then, I was still a professional, Access developer. But I still only built my database for one email address. At the time, 20 years ago, most people didn't have multiple email addresses, and it wasn't a big deal to change it. And if they had a secondary one, maybe I'd drop it in the notes field or whatever. But today, it happens a lot more that I get customers with multiple email addresses. Sometimes I'll receive a PayPal payment, and it'll be from one email address, and I'll search for the person, and I can't find them. So I'll have to email that address, and then hopefully they get back to me, and they'll be like, oh, yeah, they set up their account on my website under one email address. Their PayPal is a different address. Then they've got a work email and a home email and just a lot of stuff. Now, the proper way to set something like this up is to create a secondary table where you can have as many email addresses as you want in it. I have a whole separate video called Multiple Phone Numbers, where I basically show you the same thing, because you might have home phone, work phone, cell phone. Someone might have 5 phone numbers. Well, someone might have 8 email addresses, and you want to have them all in your database. Now, the problem is I don't want to have to redesign my entire database. It works great. There's millions of moving pieces, dozens of forms, lots and lots of queries. What I have right now is perfect. It works just fine. I don't want to break it and take 2 weeks to have to redesign everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my primary email address just where it is in the customer table and use that for the major everything's daily going-ons in my database. But I'm going to add that secondary email table. So if someone does have 2, 3, 4, 5 email addresses, I can drop them in there. The challenge then is simply to update my search buttons. If I want to search for someone by their email address, all right, so let's say I get a PayPal payment in from Jean-Luc at Amacron.com, but his primary email address is enterprise at 599cd.com. I want it to still find his record by searching in the secondary table. And obviously, if you have things like, email addresses or email blasts that go out, like newsletters and stuff, yeah, you could update that. But generally, I find that people only want to receive that stuff at their primary email address. They don't want to get 5 copies of my monthly, newsletter going to all of their email addresses. So usually that's probably just okay, just sending it to their primary email address. So let's see how to put this into action in our database. Now, before we get started, some prerequisites. This video is going to be based on several other ones that you should watch first. Go watch my multiple phone numbers video. All right, this one will show you how to set up the multiple phone number subform. We're going to do the same thing today with the email addresses. But this video does not go into searching for this. What if you want to search for your customer by phone number? We don't cover that in this video. That's what we're going to do today. And also go watch my search button video. Now, this is where I put the little search button next to a field so you can click on it and say, okay, I want to search for people by first name or by last name, or, as we're going to do today, by email address. These are free videos, by the way. They're on my website. They're on my YouTube channel. Go watch these first. Go watch them, then come on back. Got a couple more for you, too. Now, the search button video tells you to go watch Intro to VBA. You need a little tiny bit of VBA for today. All right, a couple lines of code. Don't be scared. It's not scary. All right, VBA is not that hard once you get used to it. Go watch my if-then video, because we got to be able to say if email address is not found, then do this, otherwise do that. So we need an if-then clause. We have to be able to know what DLOOKUP is, so we can go DLOOKUP their information from the table, right? Because we're in the customer table or a customer form. We have to be able to DLOOKUP information from a different table, the email table. So go watch this video. And finally, go watch NZ. NZ is what happens if you don't have a value returned. If it's null, you can replace it with a 0 or anything else you want. Okay, so here's your list. You'll find links to all these in the description text down below the video. YouTube does a pretty good job of hiding them. If you're watching them on YouTube, you got to find that little more link and click on it. You'll find links to all these. Take this list to the school bookstore and go spend $8 million on your books. No, I'm just kidding. These are all free. Every single one of them. Go watch this stuff first, then come on back. Ooh, I just gave myself chills there, going back to my college days when I go to the bookstore. And this was 1990 when I started college. So, books then were $80 for a computer science book. I can't imagine what they are today. Like 300 something, I think, with one of my daughter's classes. Anyways, now one of the benefits of being a gold member on my site is that you can download the databases that I build in the tech help videos. So I'm going to go to the single field search button page on my website, which I gave you a link to that earlier. It's one of the videos I want you to watch. And if you're a gold member, you can download the template. There it is right there. I'm going to click on that. It'll download. If you're a silver member or you're not a member, well, you can just watch this video and you can build the database on your own and then come on back. All right, so there's the database that I grabbed from that page. Here it is. And you can see this is an older version of my Tech Help free template. This is like 2 years old, but it's got all the basics in it. There's the customer form. Okay, and here we got our little search buttons that we built in that video. All right, you click on this here, you type in Picard, and it brings you right to Picard. And how does it accomplish that? Well, a little simple filter in the background here. Let me turn that off. Let's right-click, build event. There's our code. And let me shrink this down just a wee bit. It's a little bit big. Come here. Okay, and here it is right here. Last name search, for example, it gives you an input box. It says enter the last name, prompts the user for a last name, makes sure that it's not blank. If it's blank, it exits the sub, and then it turns a filter on with the me.filter property. It says last name like star S star. What does that mean? Well, it's like you could type in PIC, and it'll find Picard. That's a wildcard search. And if you don't know that, well, you should have gone and watched the search button one, because the wildcard search is a prerequisite for that one. Yeah, people always say, why do you give us all these things? I got to jump around and watch all these different lessons. Well, that's how the Tech Help and the Fast Tips are. I'll tell you what the prerequisites are. If you want a course where everything is laid out, A, B, C, then D, go take my full course. Start at beginner 1 and work your way up. That's what the well-designed course is for. These are Fast Tips videos. So I jump around a little bit. Okay. So we're going to make an email search button just like these, but I want the email search to be an exact search. I don't want to have a like in there. I want to have the exact email address or nothing at all. If you want to make it like, go ahead and make it like. But then I find, if I type in like gmail.com, it'll filter and show you everybody that's at gmail.com, but you might get 500 people. So we're just going to do an exact search for the email address. Either it's in here or it's not, okay? Usually, like I said, this happens when someone sends me an email and I can't find their account because it's a different email address. Again, exact search. Or I get like a PayPal payment, exact search. Almost never do I have to search for a part of an email address. Almost never. Sometimes if it's like a company domain name, like amacron.com, then that might help me find the person too. But if that's the case, and it happens rarely, you can just do a manual filter on here, or you can make another search button that does do the wildcard search. Put 2 of them on there. I don't care. But for today's class, we'll do an exact search. These other buttons show you how to do the wildcard search. All right, so copy and paste that guy. And let's slide you up just a hair. Let's open them up. Change properties. What do we call these ones? Search last name button. Okay, we'll call this one search email BTN. Search email button. All right, right click, build event. Okay, just like the other ones. In fact, I'm going to copy the code from search first name. We'll just copy this code. Copy and paste. Okay. Get rid of the blank spaces. Okay, we're going to go. Please enter an exact email address. All right, we'll change this to email. And I'm not going to default it to having something in there. So we'll get rid of that first name part. Okay. Check to see if it's something. And then here, we're going to say email equals quotes and S and quotes. That's those double quotes, right? I talk about that in more detail in my concatenation video, and I think that's a prerequisite for the other video. So you should have watched this one too by now. But those double quotes can be confusing. Okay, let's test it out. Save that. Come back out here. Close. Close. So far, we're just searching in the primary email here. Let's see. Oh, that's messed up. Let's change that. Get rid of that. Okay. What do we got? Okay, beta Z, JLP. Okay, so let's go back out here. Let's search for Jean-Luc. So I'm going to click in here and type in JLP at amicron.com. And, oh, didn't bring me to it. Oh, it's 599cd.com. Let's try that again. JLP at 599cd.com. Perfect. Okay, there we go. And you can see if it doesn't find it, it just puts us on a blank record. Maybe in a minute we'll do like a little message that says, hey, it's not found. Okay, so now we have the situation where Jean-Luc has multiple email addresses. We have to be able to put them all in the system. Okay, so we need to make a second table. Create, table design. Okay, email ID, that'll be our auto number. Yeah, people always ask me, can I use just the email address as a primary key? No, you can't. Yes, technically you can. You can use pretty much any kind of field as a primary key. You can use a text field as a primary key. I don't like doing that. They're called natural keys, right? They're found in nature, whatever. I just like using an auto number for every primary key. It's just easier, it's faster, it's efficient. Access manages them. Just trust me. Just use an auto number. Okay? I don't care if they've got another number like a social security number or whatever. Oops, someone's beaming in. Just stick with auto numbers, okay? I got a whole separate video on why you should just do it. Okay, I can't help but tell you what the other video is. There it is. I'll put a link down below. Okay, so next we need our foreign key. That's our customer ID. That's a number of type long integer. Okay, that's how we know who this email address belongs to. And then, of course, we need the email itself. That'll be a short text field. Now, whether or not you want to index this, that's up to you. I would at least index it duplicates okay. Because when you index a field, Access creates a separate index table. It's hidden. You don't see it. But it'll save that table sorted by the email address, which makes it much, much faster for it to find that email address when you search for it. If you don't index it, then Access literally will start at record 1 and just go down all the records until it finds that one, or doesn't, and it's got to run through the whole table. If it's indexed, it's much, much faster. And Access builds like a little hash in the background, and it can quickly find it if it's sorted. I wouldn't necessarily index this no duplicates because, A, that only handles this table. It won't take into consideration your primary customer table. All right, so they could have the email address in the customer table and in this table, and your index no duplicates is meaningless. You could index no duplicates the primary email addresses. That I have that in my database. That's totally up to you. But you could use a separate event to try to search. When you add a secondary email address, you could search the primary and back and forth using DLOOKUP. If you guys want to see how to do that, I could do that in a separate video. But managing duplicates between two tables can be a little tricky, but it's not terribly. It's not impossible. Okay, moving on. So this one's good. This will be my email my email table. Primary key, email ID. Okay. So this table technically has two indexes, right? This one and this one. Okay, close that. Now we got to put it in our customer form as a subform. You could do it as a subform. You could do it as a pop-up form, whatever you want. I'm going to put it in as a subform just because I like the way it looks. So I'm going to take the continuous form here. This is before in the new version of the template, I put an underscore in there. Well, we'll just rename this guy. We'll call it email F. And let's open it up in design view. I can get rid of these labels, shrink that up, get rid of that guy, slide this to the left, make you a little bit bigger, make you a little bit smaller. All right. I think this was not also set as continuous form. Yeah, if memory serves, right? Set that to continuous forms. I made the continuous form template and I didn't save it as a continuous form. It's a single form. Duh. Let's go to the properties for the form, open up the record source, and set this to email T. That's where it's getting its data from. And then let's change this guy so its control source is the field we're getting our data from, email. And then copy and paste that in the name block right there. Okay. All right, we're good. Save it, close it, open it up, take a peek. All right, looks good. Now, let's go to the customer form, and let's drop that in here. Now, I'm, just for the purposes of class, going to get rid of all this stuff. We don't need it. Boop, goodbye. Okay, and I'm going to take email F and click and drag and drop it there. All right, and then I'm going to slide it down, right down next to the email, like there. And for once, I'm actually going to keep this label that comes with it. Usually I delete that guy. And we're going to call this secondary email addresses. Like that. And let's call this one primary email. And then let's select both of those together, holding down the Shift key, right? Click, Shift, click, and then go to Format, Bold, and make it like blue. There we go. Okay, and you could resize this as big or as little as you want. I'm going to make it the size of the other one. And you got some room up here to do whatever you want. Okay, ready? Save it, close it, open it up. Okay, so I'm Richard at amacron.com. I'm also Amacron at amacron.com. I'm also Amacron at gmail.com. I'm also Rick at rickross.com. I got a lot of them. Okay. Let's go do another one. Let's go do, where's Jean-Luc? There's Jean-Luc. All right. He's also QLover101 at amacron.com. He's also Hate Borg Queen at 599cd.com and a bunch of other ones. Yeah. Many years ago, I decided in classes only to use my domains in my classes because I was using other ones. I'd be like, just at xyz.com. And my students would type that in and send emails to those addresses, and I'd get complaints like, can you please stop doing that in your videos? That was fun. By the way, for you Trekkies out there, the season finale of Picard Season 2 made me cry when he said goodbye to Q. Oh, I've been very disappointed with Picard, the series overall. I don't think the writing has been that good. But that last episode, it brought a tear to my eye, and I promised myself I wasn't going to cry. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to come in here and we're going to search for something. Let's say I'm searching for hhh@gmail.com, okay? If it's not found, when we apply the filter and it's not found, what's going to happen is our customer ID is null right now, right? So we can use that. We can say, okay, if we do that search, if we apply that filter and customer ID is now null, okay, then try searching in the secondary table. So search the primary table first, then start looking through the secondary table. So let's go back to our code right here. Here's our search email. Right down here. I'm going to say if is null customer ID, then just for now, let's say message box email not found. Just for now, and then exit sub. And if you don't know what is null is, go watch that video. Okay, got a whole separate video on is null. Basically, it means that it didn't find a value. Okay, or I don't have a value yet. Okay, which is different from intentionally blank. That's null versus empty string, a whole separate different video, which we're not going to go into now. All right, so save that, and I just realized I got a goof here. I said exit sub instead of end if. You guys got to yell at me when I make mistakes. Someone raise their hand. That's one of the reasons I kind of miss doing live classes, because people to be in the back row be like, wait. I'll be like, oh, yep. Now I got to wait a couple days before I get 5 million hate mails. Okay, save it. Come back over here. Let's try searching for something. Anything, doesn't matter. Okay, email not found. All right, because it applied the filter and customer ID is null. Okay, but I don't want to just tell them they haven't found it. I want to look in the other table. So let's use DLOOKUP, right? You already watched the DLOOKUP video. And let's look up the customer ID from the email table where the email address equals what was typed in. So ID as long, we need another variable. Okay, and we're going to say ID equals DLOOKUP. What are we looking up? The customer ID, so we know which record to jump to, right? From the email table where email equals quote an S and close quote. Okay, and if it's not found, I don't want an error message. I want a 0. So NZ, this whole thing, comma 0. Right? If it doesn't find an email address, bring me back a 0. Otherwise, bring me back the customer ID that belongs to that. Okay? So now I can say if ID equals 0, then it's not found. All right, so we can just say message box, email S, not found. And then be creative if you want to. VB exclamation and not found as the title. Okay? And if you want, at this point, you could even turn the filter off and just put it back to a full set of records. Me.filterOn equals false. Okay? Else, I did find the customer record. Okay, what do I do in that case? Well, we'll just set the filter to the customer ID that I just returned with my DLOOKUP. So I could say me.filter equals customer ID equals ID. That's the value that I got back from DLOOKUP. See? Look up the ID where the customer ID, get the customer ID from the email table where the email matches S. Okay? If it's 0, we didn't find anything, tell them that, exit out and turn the filter off. Otherwise, the filter's still on from up here, by the way, so you don't have to issue that command again. But set the filter equal to customer ID, the one we just looked up. Get rid of your extra blank spaces in there. And I think that's all we need. Let's save it. Come back out. Yeah. Close that. I like to close and reopen all the time. Close and reopen. Okay. Let's look for, let's make it easy. Let's look for JLP at 599cd.com. He should be in the primary table. Boom, there he is. Okay, great. Now let's look for me. Let's look for Amicron at amicron.com. Boom, it found me in the secondary table. See that? It searched primary table, didn't find me in the secondary table. Let's do another search. Let's search for just some garbage. Oh, email not found. And if you want to put logic in here to check if it's a valid email address, you can do that too right after they enter it, right? Make sure there's an at, make sure there's a dot, make sure it's whatever. Okay, but so far all these pieces are working. Let's click on it, try one more. Let's look for, what have we got? Hate Borg Queen at 599cd.com. And there you are. Okay, there you go. And now if you have other things you need to integrate this into, you have all these extra email addresses. I mostly use it just for search. I really don't do anything with those secondary email addresses aside from allowing them to make it easier for me to find a customer that's contacting me or sends in a payment from a different email address. Once I get it, then I add it to the secondary email table and I'm all set to go. And I'm cooking with gas. So there you go. There's your fast tip for today. Yeah, these fast tips are getting longer. That wasn't very fast. That was 20 minutes. That's how the tech help video started. The tech help video started as just quickly answering a question, and then those expanded into, a 15 to 30 minute free video followed by a half-hour extended cut video. So I guess the fast tips I'm going to have to call the medium tips or just the tip. No. All right, I hope you guys learned something. What was that? Yeah, we'll see you next time. Have a good one. How do you become a member? Click on the join button below the video. After you click the join button, you'll see a list of all the different membership levels that are available, each with its own special perks. Silver members and up will get access to all of my extended cut tech help videos, one free beginner class each month, and more. Gold members get access to download all of the sample databases that I build in my tech help videos, plus my code vault, where I keep tons of different functions that I use. You'll also get a higher priority if you decide to submit any tech help questions to me, and you'll get one free expert class each month after you've finished the beginner series. Platinum members get all the previous perks, plus even higher priority for tech help questions, access to all of my full beginner courses for every subject, and one free developer class each month after you finish the expert classes. These are the full-length courses found on my website, not just for access to. I also teach Word, Excel, Visual Basic, and lots more. You can now become a Diamond sponsor and have your name or company name listed on a sponsors page that will be shown in each video as long as you're a sponsor. You'll get a shout out in the video and a link to your website or product in the text below the video and on my website. But don't worry, these free tech help videos are going to keep coming. As long as you keep watching them, I'll keep making more, and they'll always be free. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and post any comments you may have. I do try to read and answer all of them as soon as I can. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, which is completely free, and click on the bell icon to select all to receive notifications when new videos are posted. Make sure you click the Show More link down below the video to find additional resources and links. You'll see a list of other videos, additional information related to the current topic, free lessons, and lots more. YouTube no longer sends out email notifications when new videos are posted, so if you'd like to get an email every time I post a video, click on the link to join my mailing list. Even if you don't want to become a member, feel free to donate to my tip jar. Your patronage is greatly appreciated and will help keep these free videos coming. I got puppies to feed. Now, If you have not yet tried my free Access Level 1 course, check it out now. It covers all the basics of Microsoft Access. It's over 4 hours long, and I just updated it for 2021. You can find it on my website or on my YouTube channel. I'll include a link below that you can click on. And also, if you like Level 1, Level 2 is just $1. Yep, that's all, $1, and it's free for all members of my YouTube channel at any level, even supporters. Want to have your question answered in a video just like this one? Visit my tech help page on my website. You can send me your question there. While you're on my site, feel free to stop by the Access Forum. Lots of good conversations happening there. Be sure to follow my blog, find me on Twitter, and of course, YouTube. Once again, my name is Richard Ross. Thank you for watching this tech help video brought to you by AccessLearningZone.com. I hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something today. I'll see you again soon.